Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Must Love Yarn podcast.
Here we are. Happy
New Year! First podcast of 2023, and we've got Duncan to start our day because it's the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We are here Monday morning.
That's right. I have the festive side of my cup.
I have the sticker side, apparently. So it's Monday. It's January 2nd.
Inventory day at the store. For the last time, though, right? Because we're going to switch it
I
up.
think we're going to change how we do this going forward, which is fine. Totally into it.
It was nice to have a New Year's Day that was really a New Year's Day.
Yeah, where you didn't have to run off.
We didn't do it yesterday. We did it. We voted on doing it today. Oh, and here they come.
So people are coming. So this is a podcast about yarn, knitting, other things Vermont related, food, travel, whatever Jen and I decided to talk about. And you can find the store out on all social media as Must Love Yarn. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry, the fun stuff. So, and I'm Angela.
I'm John.
And you can find me on social media, Instagram, and Ravelry as Junior Bird Kid.
And you can find me on Ravelry as, which one is that? J Arbuckle. And on Instagram as Jennifer_Arbuckle.
And feel free to follow or friend us on those platforms.
Yes.
Again, with a caveat, that's my personal page.
Lots of pretty light pictures
Can I
from
see
this
other
weekend.
stuff? Yeah.
Right.
Other things, travel pictures and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
we like to start this video or episode with our podcast pick.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've chosen a new to us yarn that we just saw in the store, and you're like, oh, let's do that. That looks.
We found some new stuff, which is
That
good
looks
because Ange has a few more. Well, we both are a little slim pickings today on the knitted objects.
Yeah, there was not as much knitting as one would think for the amount of time that I've had off.
Right. I felt the same way this morning. I was like, I was going to knit like the entire week because I had 3 days to
Right.
myself. That did not
Right.
happen.
No,
I don't
didn't
know what
happen.
I did.
Just do other stuff. So we have this great new yarn. It's vintage baby hand paint. So it's a DK weight.
We have 4 different
Yarn.
colorways,
Yep. And these are kind of cool. These are 50
Yeah.
gram skeins.
splotches of color,
So,
pretty colors.
if you're looking for just something to put as, color work or, for part of a hat or mittens or something.
A little sweater for a baby.
Yeah. So they're 145 yards for 50 grams. They're acrylic wool nylon blend. So similar to the vintage.
Regular vintage baby.
Yep. Regular vintage. These retail for $8.99. And we've got these 4 great colorways. So, with podcast pick, you get 10% off for the next 2 weeks.
So you've got some little ones popping up this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great,
I have one at home that would just
yeah,
love that colorway.
or not so little.
Right. That's a little purple,
Right.
white, pink, teal.
Mm-hmm.
All her favorite colors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we will use the code PP hand paint because I
Sure.
think we've used baby before.
Yeah. And hand baby sounds weird.
Yeah, no, I ran that through my head.
I know, I was-
That's a little
no,
odd.
No, I can't come up with anything catchy. But,
Yeah, so PP
right.
hand paint.
Right. Right.
Keeping it simple. For 10% off for the 2 weeks following the airing of this podcast. So that would be January 6th through whatever 2 weeks later is.
20.
The 20th.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah. Something like that, approximately.
Approximately. You can also look at a calendar and do math.
Right.
Probably better than us
Right.
because
You would think there'd be a calendar in front of us, but there is not.
I haven't even done show notes yet. We're on top of it.
Right.
So
Because we decided last night.
to do this morning.
Right.
It's amazing I made it here.
Right.
So what are you wearing today?
I'm wearing a little Sophie scarf that may or may not be mine. It might become a gift for someone. I just finished it last night. So this one is,
Nice.
this one is the Rowan color tweed mixed with, there's still some. This Stellaris is still going. so
Going
much
strong.
more. Yes, exactly. And so it's kind of fun because the colors change a little bit from blue to green
Oh, that
to
is fun.
teal. And this is the second one that I finished, if we move right into finished objects. And my sister's was the one that I did out of the Eco Puno. I have the tag for this, but God knows where that's gone. Also out of the two combined together. So I posted about this and wrote about it in our newsletter or whatever. So folks have seen it, and it's on my project page. So that was actually intended to be for someone else, but I decided it was my sister's colors when I was done with it. So I gave it to her for Christmas. And so, yeah, so it was fun. This is a really,
it's a fun project.
Yeah, it is. I've done the same. I had one mistake on each of them. I did this because once you get to the end and you pull the yarn to the front, my instinct is to purl the next 3 stitches instead of slip them. And so, on both the other one and this one, I have one spot where this one is right on the end, so it doesn't matter. You can barely tell, but I know.
Right, you can see it.
And you can feel it. There's like a little bump there.
Yep.
Anyway, it was just amusing to me that I made the same mistake once. Because when I get tired at night, like your brain, you pull the yarn to the front, which means you're going to purl, right? So you just...
stitches. Right.
Anyway, it was entertaining to say the least.
Exactly.
And I have my special knitting sweatshirt on because I have all sweat clothes on today, so I can be super comfortable.
Slap-opotamus day today.
Yes, well, also because we're going to be standing up and down 53 times. Yeah. Maybe more.
So I have a couple finished objects. I probably would have had 3, but I had a yarn emergency SOS that I had to deal with. We'll explain. But let me show my finished objects. So one was pretty close to being done when we podcast last time. So this is Jen's Take a Ribbing hat. I have it turned inside out because I like the way the ribbing looks. But I don't like purling, so I like knitting it the way that she designed it and then flipping it around. So I think that's sideways.
It is funny. I like both sides as well. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So this is the one.
But I don't like to purl either, so I definitely...
with the gray Renew, Barocco Renew, and some green mohair, and there's Stellaris in there too. I know the Stellaris pin, because why not?
I can definitely see the sparkle here. Shiny. It's funny, the light is muting that a little bit. Probably.
It is. But so, remember I bought another skein because I thought it was going to run out. It didn't run out.
I told you.
I know. I was.
It goes right. It's funny, but at the end, once you start decreasing, suddenly
right,
you're
it
using
goes super fast.
Yarn. Yeah.
So I need to.
Sorry.
There was a knot in the Stellaris.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, very weird. So this is the other skein of the gray Renew, which I held with like a light blue mohair and the Stellaris, so you can see kind of sparkles. But it's amazing, like what, depending on what the mohair is, like what happens to this. So this is a very subtle, like almost like icicle-y looking.
Yeah, icy winter blue.
Icy winter blue, which I really like a whole lot.
Yeah.
Probably I'm going to keep this one. I think this is going to go with that other Sophie scarf and probably become a gift for somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not super matchy, but close enough. And I'm probably going to keep this one. So
yeah.
I have tons of Stellaris left.
I know, right? I mean, I've knit,
am I gonna knit with this?
A hat, the 2 Sophie scarves, and I still feel like I have like half a thing left.
Yeah, I have 2 hats, a Sophie scarf. I have a second Sophie scarf that I have yarn for that I'm going to cast on at some point here.
It's just going.
But yeah, it's super fun.
And it's funny because there's 500 yards, so you would think, or whatever, 500,
you would
650
be running
yards.
With those projects.
Right. I mean, it's like, anyway.
I know.
It is very skinny.
It's the never-ending skein of Stellaris.
It's interesting whether they did the yardage based on the weight, because maybe there's 1,000 yards.
Who knows, right?
Who knows? It's hard to weigh and calculate how much you're using because it's got this hefty cone in the middle of it, and I'm certainly not taking it off of that.
Oh, God, no. That would be a disaster.
Although I will say that it is, to pull from the outside is a tiny bit annoying because it bounces from one end to the other, hence the
plastic bag.
I highly recommend the use of a Ziploc bag.
I've just been tucking it down in and like having it jump out every once in a while and then having to go find it.
Right. So I do have other finished objects, but they are not here because they were given away. So I knit a pair of fingerless mitts for my friend Michael, who was here visiting. This is it's kind of funny. Yarn that he actually gave me that he had picked up. I don't know. I've had it in my stash for, I don't even know, like 7 or 8 years maybe. But it's like really nice woolly wool. And I always in my brain, like, you know how you remember things that are in your stash, but you remember them a little bit wrong. I thought it was like very rustic and rough. But it's actually pretty soft. And,
that's not bad.
but he's doing a lot of work on his house and he doesn't have a lot of heat right now because there's some uninsulated areas.
Ooh.
And so I was like, he needs like sturdy
mittens
hand
or mitts.
fingerless mitts that he can work around the house on. And of course he puts them on. He was very excited. He puts them on and he's like, I'm bringing these to work because my hands are freezing cold at work every day. I was like, well, if I
had known that,
if I had planned for you to knit that, I would have knit like much more lovely mitts, you know, like maybe cashmere or something lovely that you could wear to work that weren't like these big things. But I'm going to, and then he promptly told me that he had lost the squirrel hat that I made him a couple years ago. And so I'm going to knit him a hat to go with them, and I'm going to probably do the antler toque, something benign, but beautiful, but also something
a little bit of interest, the cabling
right for me, but a hat that a man might happily wear. He's pretty knit-worthy, actually. He loves everything. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and also just for those that needed to know, that's the Sophie scarf pattern, for those that are wondering. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, there's the, I knew I had that.
So I went into stash because I knew we were going to be going away and I needed something that was a smaller project.
And you'd already knit 2 or 3 Sophie scarves. It's a limit.
I was like, I need a break. And I remembered that I had this great yarn in my stash that I got from Kelly from Fernbridge Farm. So that's some of her,
That's pretty.
hand spun. And at the same time, I had bought from Tammy at Wing and a pair of this white yarn, and I had always intended them to go together because they're similarly weighted yarns, kind of like a Aran,
nice
heavy worsted, and I wasn't sure. I figured, you know, hat or mitts or something, and so I found this Celtic cables beanie. So it's pretty. Just, you know, it does the color work to kind of look like cables instead of actually doing the cables. And unless I did my math wrong, I should have had enough of the...
You would think with 250-gram skeins.
So, but this is a really
it's a super brim. Yeah.
And I thought that I had done the math right to be able to do the long brim, but I have this much white left.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get you through the decreases.
I'm not even at the decreases.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. So I sent an SOS to Tammy and was like, you don't happen to have any of this yarn left, do you?
We don't have it here, do we?
No. It was like, no. I was like, even a partial skein, like something that you wouldn't necessarily put out to sell. Like I just
need like 25 grams.
I sent her a picture. I'm like, it's so close. I'm like, if you don't have it, it's fine. Like I'll figure something else out.
We could find something that,
or
close
I
for
would
the weight.
just. Anyway, I'd figure it out. So she looked through, she found one, like one skein and like super deep, like
under the eaves somewhere.
Which is super lucky because the animals that made this yarn are no longer with us.
Oh.
So it was like, there's no way to get any more, even like, you know, can't wait for the next batch or anything like that. So anyway, so that's on its way to me. So this hat is so close to being done. It's going to be so warm.
Yes, I can tell.
So warm.
It's a sturdy Vermonti hat.
Super sturdy.
It's really pretty. The colors
really
are pretty.
Fun. Really fun knit.
It's maybe hard to see, but
it's like teals and browns and kind of tans.
Woodsy colors.
Woodsy colors. So with a second skein of this, I probably am going to have enough to maybe make a pair of mitts to go with the hat. Probably not full mittens, but definitely probably mitts.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of exciting. So that turned out to be a good happy mistake or miscalculation. So anyway, so I figured I was going to have a finished object till I ran out of yarn.
We'll call it like a 98% finished object.
It's pretty close. It's not going to take me too long to finish once the yarn shows up.
That's right.
So I did that one, and then I had picked a project up out of deep hibernation.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had started it for class.
I had intended last night, I was like, oh my God, we're podcasting tomorrow. I need to start my clock. I need to put my sleeves of my sea glass sweater on the needles.
Right?
But then I just finished the scarf instead.
So I had started this for a
Yes.
class I was going to teach.
Oh, yeah.
2021 or
Last
maybe
year.
2022.
I think it was last summer,
in the
maybe.
March-ish, called the lozenge cowl, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like kind of a mosaic knitting style, but we didn't get enough registrants, so I'd started it and then put it aside. So I picked it back up.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Yeah. It's
Super
nice.
fun. It's Barocco. It's a DK weight.
We had a sample
towel.
like that in the store, and we sold like a million skeins of yarn because people love that pattern.
Yeah,
It's really
great.
nice to have the contrast between the two and the
it's
the color changing
the
yarn.
the Schopel, and just Barocco vintage or Barocco Ultra Bold DK. So super fun. Once you figure out the pattern, it's pretty. Like, you don't even really need to follow the directions. You just go, and
You're pretty close.
I'm in the garter.
Oh, you're off on the other end.
Ribbing, garter edge, and then a bind off.
Another 98% finished.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to stay up crazy late last night.
Watching movies.
Because I knew I had to come in today and be up and around.
I figured I might as well start depriving myself of sleep, having slept a lot while I was on vacation, so that I'm ready for this week where I get 5 or 6 hours of sleep.
We had about
8.
we had about 3 nights where there was like not a lot of sleep.
Because of the holiday. Yeah.
And the power thing, even before Christmas and then after Christmas at the hotel. We were in a really loud hotel with, as best I can describe, a bunch of kids that were not being supervised. So there was lots of late night, like running up and down hallways, yelling and screaming in neighboring rooms. Like it was just,
yeah.
Like, what are these kids' parents?
Right.
Like, why are you not sleeping?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
But,
Do you think we should pause and say good morning and then come back and do stuff, or do you think we should keep going?
Yeah, let's pause and make a note at where we're pausing.
Yeah.
Pausing at. Do you have FOs to talk about?
Nope. I got nothing else. I'm sorry.
So when we come back, we'll be talking about sort of new yarns and maybe upcoming projects.
Yeah. And then,
Okay.
Just we don't need to pause. I just want people to know we're back here.
Yeah.
Although, Rihanna probably said that. So, pause.
Okay, pause. We'll be right back.
And we're back.
We're back for part 2.
Right. Now you'll know the transition between the two sets of hands.
It'll be fine.
That's right.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
So we are back. We took just a quick little break.
I had a donut. I'm good to go.
To check in with our staff and let them know we were back here and to say hello. And so we're going to pick up with our upcoming projects. We have some new projects. I meant to grab my bag that had the yoga clock stuff in it.
Oh.
And I forgot because it's in a
I meant to
different
pick
place.
yarn out of my stash for it and start it over the holidays. That was on my list of things, but I don't know.
I had the needles are in that bag.
These little mitts I made were like a last minute project,
Yeah.
and so that took up they were fast, but it was like a day and a half of my knitting.
I have to assess my yarn situation. I think
Yeah.
that was part of the problem is I was afraid I was going to run out of yarn.
Yeah. And I have to assess it because some of the scraps I might need for my sea glass sweater, which I need to get those sleeves started. So that's on my list to do this week is to, get the sleeves. So I have to measure the yarn. I had an idea that I might take the scraps from my 2 Sophie scarves and knit a striped.
Sophie?
Yes.
Oh, that would be cool.
Particularly if I give this one away to my friend, which is likely.
That would look really
Yeah,
good
so that
together,
would be
I think.
kind of fun, and then this would, sort of hold it all together. Because this gets very green. There's a lot of, it's hard to tell because there's, and it's that Eco Puno tweed from Lana Grosso.
Yep.
Oh, apparently there's 17 grams left.
Oh, there you go.
I measured it. For when I was putting it on my Ravelry page. That's why. And it is merino wool, baby alpaca, cotton. Oh, I didn't realize that. 60% cotton. I just picked it out because it was pretty. 60% cotton, 14% baby alpaca, 10% merino wool, a little bit of polyester to hold it all together. But when it's mixed with this, it gets really green, like
Yep.
an olivey kind of green. But so anyway, could be fun.
I think it'll be fun.
I have to make sure there's enough here.
Be fun.
And it would be nice to use those scraps up because they're DK weight. I don't know.
I have a ton of scraps just hanging out from all these random projects. So
Yeah.
at some point I may actually a striped stove Sophie would be
Yeah,
really interesting because I do
fun.
have enough
yeah.
you know.
And
Here
again,
or there.
with the sparkle too.
Absolutely.
And I liked both of those a lot. So originally I bought this one to do for myself. And I do like it, but I do the other one. Anyway,
Nice.
so that's a possibility.
So when Fiber Stash was here in December for one of our pop-up events, I was looking at some of her yarn and she's brought in a DK line of yarn. So I picked up a couple of skeins just to
I was going to say that looked plumper than her normal fingering weight.
Yeah, to give it just a whirl. So it's a merino nylon, so you could actually use them for DK socks because they have nylon in them.
Yeah.
Pretty high twist. Although it may not look like it on the screen, there is actually pink in the It Freezes Me. So
Which is the darker multicolored
yeah,
one.
which is this one, and then this is Pop Star. So I was gonna put those two together.
That'd be fun.
And I was looking for I know, right? I think it's gonna be a hat because I'm on like a hat kick. I feel like I go through these cycles. So I have two options. You could do fold in the cheese, which is just more of a straightforward, like relatively easy 2-color hat. Could probably knit 2 hats out of the skeins, just flip flop the thing. Or because I can't do anything easy, there's this Niffling, which is double knit
fun.
brim and brioche at the top.
That'd be another super warm hat.
Be super warm, also fun because you could wear it either direction. The question is, do I want to double knit brioche? And the answer is maybe, because maybe it's time.
2-color brioche, right?
2-color brioche.
I think that's probably easier than
One color.
right, because you can see the
it.
2 different color stitches. And those are different enough that you would really be,
Yeah.
because sometimes with variegated yarn, they're like when you get the same color stitches next to each other, it gets tricky. But
So I figured these would be good colorways to try to do a project like that.
yeah, that would be great because and then also that hat must be reversible then.
It is reversible. And you can fold the brim up or not fold the brim up. Like it's
Oh, on the back there's some other pictures. Yeah, but there's
but you can
words.
see like that's one way and that's the other way. And,
Yep. Fun.
so it'll probably be this one.
Just because something new and different.
Something new.
A little bit of a challenge.
A little bit of a challenge.
It depends on how tired we are when we go back to work, right?
Exactly. That's the problem is a lot of times I work on these things in the evenings when I have
just
tired eyes and tired brain and
Yeah, and this is like a really, really easy repetitive knit. So you just want to keep making it. Yes.
I wound up a little bit of the yarn that I bought from Kelly, so her Fernbridge farm yarn from her sheep, because I had bought yarn this summer. Yeah, I think it was the summer. To make cyan, so it's like a 2-colored sweater. And I'm debating because the yarn I have is worsted weight, the sweater is DK, or they're reverse. I can't remember. It's the wrong size yarn for the sweater.
Oh my god.
I know. So I'm debating whether I should knit a swatch, which I probably should, or just wing it with a different size. So I don't know. Stay tuned. It's yarn that if it's not working, will pull out really easily.
Well, and also
pull
like
out well.
especially DK worsted.
They will
sometimes
knit
they're
up and
really
down.
not wildly different from each other.
Yeah.
It depends on whether they're fat or skinny.
Well, and this is very plump yarn, so it will knit down.
Yeah.
So I can pull it down. It'll change the fabric a little bit. So
You might go up a needle size.
yeah, that's what I was
especially for you,
thinking.
'cause you're a tight knitter.
Yep,
Yeah.
going up a needle size and like maybe down a size that I would normally wear. And I think between those two things,
Yeah.
it should be fine. Or I just would have an oversized sweater. That's the other thing. I could just end up with an oversized sweater, which I probably would like better.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my other tasks that I did not do was I have 2 sweaters that I knit that are, one is just a little bit too big and one is like much too big. And it was meant to be an oversized sweater, but it's like
Way
just way too
oversized.
big. and I knitted a couple of years ago. And so one of my other plans was to felt those, like one a little bit and one a lot, because I think then they would just be nice heavy sweaters. And so that did not happen either. Maybe this afternoon we'll see how long we're here, and it would be nice because I really need to wash all my sweaters anyway. That you would think with 3 days of complete nothingness, other than writing a newsletter for the store, which does take an afternoon, but still, you would have thought I would have accomplished some of these tasks, but I did not.
Nope.
I am very well rested, however.
We have
So I have upcoming things. So one is the hat, and then the sleeves for that sweater for sure. And then as I was pawing through things trying to find the stuff to bring with me today, I was like, oh, right, this pink sweater. Yes. And so I'm thinking that my other goal so my New Year's goals so far are off to a great start. These are the goals I established for my week between Christmas and New Year's, and I've met none of them. Was to take a look at that sweater and figure out whether I need to take it back and start over or what. So those are the two big things. Nice. And then I think I have so many things I would love to cast on, but I just want to finish. I have so many unfinished things. Yep. So like your cowl, there's so many things, and I want them all, so I just want to just finish them.
Get them done.
Yeah.
I also I signed up. I forgot that I signed up, and then I got the email, and I was like, oh, right, that's coming up.
Oh, we have to do swatches.
Well, we have stuff that we have to do for Vogue Knitting Live.
Yeah, right. I should probably do that now before I forget.
That I did remember, but I need to go find those things. But
the notes. I don't even remember what I'm taking, but I know there's homework for it.
There's homework. I signed up to take a class with Patty Lyons on this coming Saturday.
Oh, online. Yeah.
Online. It's a finishing one because I thought, this would be great. Like, I need to learn some techniques, and I have her book, and like, let's do this. But there's homework, so I need to do homework.
But also, for Vogue Knitting Live.
But I also have stuff to do for Vogue Knitting Live, so I need to pull.
I have like an embroidery class, so I have to knit swatches to be able to knit.
Yeah.
So I should probably do that now.
So I need to start pulling materials and needles and getting those situated.
Because it will be here before we know it.
No, I know it's like February, but it'll be here fast.
I was making last minute the last few flight things we have to do for Hawaii, and I was like, and I was like, okay, that's like 6 weeks away. It's not like 8 months away.
Right, it's gonna come up fast.
Right. So, yes.
I'll be the person on the plane to New York, finishing up homework. I can already tell. Already know.
Yeah, and then the other thing, speaking of classes and things, so when my friend was here, we were wandering around shopping on Friday, Saturday, I don't know, whatever day, and of course, we were on Church Street, so we went into my favorite used bookstore, the Crow Bookstore, and I always go in there just in general because I like to look in there, but because often in their little crafting section, they have like good technique books.
Vintage books.
Right. Yeah. And so, for $10, you buy a book that will be like a class. And so I know it's crazy talk. Socks.
Yeah. What is that?
Right. Well, crazy. Toe up 2 at a time socks.
Actually, one of the classes I'm taking at Vogue Knitting Live is 2 at a time socks.
I thought, and then between the two of us, one of us could teach a class. And I've always thought that one of the things about socks, for some reason I don't feel this way about mittens, but like once I'm done with the first one, I'm like, oh God, really? I have to knit another one now? Really? So which is why I like the DK socks that I did because they were fast. Yeah. But I think if I knit them at the same time, then you're finishing at the same time. Right. And
I have a bunch of yarn that are identical match skeins, so the yarn's already broken apart, so I just need to I think that's the type of yarn I'm going to use for that class because it's just already broken apart and I have 2 skeins and can go. Mina's teaching that class, Mina Phillip, so
I'm trying to remember what I signed up for. I thought to myself as I bought this book, did I sign up for a class on this? I might have, because I was in the middle of designing those socks while I was doing that. And so, but anyway, so that was my exciting $10 purchase. And I'm kind of excited. And of course, you're looking through and you're like, oh, look at all these pretty socks you made.
Right.
Look at, here's a whole drawer full of socks. That's exciting. And also, I was throwing away some of my socks that have holes and have worn through. Not my handmade ones, because there's not very many of those. But there could be more.
I have some handmade ones that are waiting to be darned. because the heels have worn out.
I understand the darning thing, but it's kind of confusing to me at
I
the
got
same
the
time.
little darning loom from Katrinkles, and
All right, I'm going to let you experiment with that,
it's
and I'll be
all
curious.
in a bag together, and I haven't done it. So
We have those here in the
we
store.
do have them here
couple.
at the store too. Yes, we should
Right,
get
that's
to
fun.
that. Hop.
Right.
So
All right. We do have lots of new yarn to show, despite
We
the fact that we
do.
are a little slim on.
Yeah.
I guess we have a couple. We showed you the one already.
yep. So we have this new worsted weight
Mm,
yarn in, which is really gorgeous. So it's Falkland worsted. It's 100% wool. Not a
Merino.
Does not appear to be a superwash.
no.
Nope.
Easy Care.
Oh.
I thought it was because
Okay.
it's to replace. We're replacing the Plymouth
Plymouth.
Superwash that we had.
Okay. So
Uh,
it appears that it is. Can't read the tag.
no, well, it just says Easy Care on the front. I'm pretty sure. If
Oh yeah. There's the wash
look,
symbol
it says
and the no
using
dry.
free right on the tag now.
Yep. So we have a bunch of different colors of this.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So this is worsted weight. It's 100 gram skein, 218 yards. It retails for $15.99 per skein. So
It's really soft. It's beautiful.
look at all of these fun colors. So many colors. All the colors. Really
Yeah.
nice, just solid.
Yeah, we brought in a bunch to bring it in as a new line, as I said, to replace the other one,
Yeah.
which was getting harder for us to find for some reason. I don't know why.
Yep.
So we have
But this
all
is also
beautiful-
sort of sustainably raised and harvested.
Yeah,
So we're trying to look more at that as we're
Yeah.
bringing in yarns. You know, what's the company doing? How are things processed? Just because it all has an impact.
yeah. On the environment and the world we all
Yep.
live in.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, so crazy soft.
So this is Juniper Moon Harriet. This is their Harriet Great. So this is like a
Yes.
bulky weight
Yes.
yarn. It's 100% alpaca. So soft and luscious. And
Yeah.
nice.
So definitely, maybe not a sweater, but
No.
but
Hat. Cowl.
held with right, or lovely soft shawl. Although you could hold it with something to give it some structure, a little bit of like fingering weight or something, if you wanted to. But yeah, so it's as Andrew said, 100% alpaca, 100 grams, 131 yards. So it's a bulky weight. It is, yes, lovely.
So
Yeah.
soft.
It is interesting, not to belabor the sustainability aspect, but if you look at this tag at the top, a lot of the tags are starting to show their practices. So this one also is Mulesing free, and it has Confidence in Textiles logo on it, which is tested for harmful substances according to the standard 100 whatever. So anyway, it's nice that the manufacturers are starting. Makes it easier for us to have some confidence in selling their products
Yep.
for people. So it's good. So as you start to look at yarns, if you're interested in that, then you can see for yourself. It's like food labels now.
Yep. Yeah.
Starting to be more and more information on there.
Absolutely. And then we brought over some Barocco
Because of our friend behind us.
because we just brought, this is a basic, like, nice quick sweater if you're looking for an easy project, want to knit a sweater on big needles.
I just realized that that's upside down.
Jen's a big fan.
Right. We have so many great colors. We don't have a ton of all of the colors in stock,
But Barocco still is doing drop shipping, so that means you can order yarn through us in a quantity that maybe we don't have in stock, and it will ship directly to you from Barocco. It was a program they started during COVID, and they've just continued because it's been very successful and popular. And so it helps us because we get credit for selling the yarn, but we don't have to stock all the colors, and you get it sent directly to you. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
yeah, this is a really great. I know we've talked about this before, and we've shown that sweater before probably, but it's 100 grams, 109 yards, so it is knit on like size 11 needles, and it's 100% wool, but it's really soft and
Yeah,
fuzzy. It's
super.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
It knits
Really
up
nice.
beautifully. I'm trying to remember what this sweater is called.
I'm suffering a little bit.
It's a great Rosalia, Rosalia, Rosalia. it knits up quickly, flies off your needles.
Yep.
So I guess I'm building a yarn wall
Yes.
in front of us here. But
Oh,
yes,
wow.
all these amazing. Oop. Well, my architectural skills are obviously limited. I'm a designer, not a builder. Just kidding. There we go. To keep track of them. Oh, hopefully they aren't starting in the bulky section.
Because we have some of their yarn.
Right. We have yarn back here, in case you're counting in the bulky section.
Yeah, stuff's missing. We have some.
All right. So, what else do we have here? I can open my Christmas gift.
You can
That's
open your
exciting.
Christmas. We have a couple, while she's doing that, a couple of knit-alongs that we're supposed to close. They've not closed yet, and we don't have prizes set up for them. So that's the Sparkle Along, and also the one with Yarn Cal.
Oh, look, I can enter this in the Sparkle Along.
Totally
I better
can.
get in there quick.
We'll hit those the next time we podcast. The Yoga Clock Along has started. So check out the details on that.
Right, which means we need to start our clocks.
Yes,
Those are
we
awesome,
do.
Ange. Thank you.
Katrinkles always does great little holiday stuff.
Yeah, I was eyeing
gifts.
those, actually. Oh, that's beautiful.
It's magnetic,
Mm-hmm.
so you're supposed to be able to stick things to it like stitch markers and
Oh.
tapestry needles and things.
Oh, the outside, not the
outside.
inside. I was like,
Yeah.
because there's little little
Magnets.
bumps on the inside,
Those are magnets.
which are the magnets. And so in my brain, I was like, so how do you put them and then you wear it? But awesome, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
Thank
like
you.
a wearable version of there's other ones that just have
Mm-hmm.
like a metal magnet plate, but this is more subtle.
Yes, and of course, I like plain silver things. So thank
Yes,
you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, awesome. I'm not going to wear it today
Because
because
it will just fall off and yeah.
clank on things. Awesome,
Yes.
thank
Yeah,
you, Ange.
Merry
Beautiful.
Christmas.
Yes. I forgot there were still gifts to come today. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Always fun to have. I think that's it. I think I'm done. I think
Okay.
I've gotten all my gifts so far this year. A very nice year for gifts. Lots of
Yes.
cat-oriented gifts, I will say that. My cat made out well. He has a new felted cat cave that my
Ooh.
sister bought for him.
Wow.
He's on the fence about it.
No.
No, he likes it.
Oh.
It's one of the ones where it's like a big oval and the hole is in the top.
Oh, like the one that I tried to make that
Maybe.
my
and
cat just squashed down. and
Well, that's
sat
what
on top.
keeps happening. Like, and it's big, so I keep turning it on its side because then the hole is where he can get at it. He does like it. Like I come home and I've had it fluffed up and it's all squashed down, so he sleeps on it.
Just
But I'm not
doesn't
sure.
use it the way it
He got
was
in it
intended.
one day when I was tired of having him on my lap, and I sort of pushed him away. And he went in and slept there for like 2 hours inside there. He was all curled up. He was lovely. So anyway, it's interesting
Nice.
to experiment with. But yes. Yeah, so we have a ton of classes. They're all
Oh,
posted.
yes, they're all posted.
And some
We
of
have
them
some
start
classes
in
for
January.
kids.
hmm
So
Yeah, we have
check
2
those out.
workshops. One, the Sweater Together workshop, which runs for 6 weeks, I think. And then the kids knit and crochet, learn to knit and crochet workshop, which runs, is it 1 week, 5 days? I don't quite know. It's over 6 weeks as well.
Yeah, it's a longer.
All the details are on our website. Do
Yes.
not listen to us.
We'll link them in show notes so
Yeah.
you can find the class page
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Just making myself notes of things I need to
Yeah. Well, I think most of them are in there. We just
Yeah.
need to re-up
make sure
them.
they're updated. Everything's
Yeah.
accurate.
And we've
So,
got to start thinking about next year's Seasons of Vermont. I haven't really
yeah.
had the big inspiration, but maybe we'll talk about that during the day today as people are looking at things. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we'll start in March with those. So
Yep.
yeah. And then, as I said, Ange and I are going to Vogue Knitting Live in February.
Yep.
So we'll probably mention about 53 more times before we go on these podcasts. But just FYI, in case you're going.
And
Reach out, let us
Wing on a
know.
Prayer Farm's going to be here on February 11th. We had to
Right.
reschedule her December date because the weather was awful, particularly down where she was, and it
Yeah.
wasn't going to be safe for her to drive up to do the show that day. So we rescheduled to February 11th because she's around and it worked for her, and it's right before Valentine's Day, so come treat yourself with some wing and a prayer farm that day.
Yeah.
So,
and some lovely things, because she always brings more than yarn. She brings soaps and other
all kinds of stuff.
lovely,
We'll be
sweet
at
things.
Vogue, so we will miss it, which I'm sad about.
I know, yeah. But if you are heading to the big city in February, let us know.
Yeah.
Try and connect for dinner or lunch or something.
Yeah, we'll be around.
We will. Yes, and we'll be getting ready for that ahead of time. Maybe before the next podcast, I'll figure out what classes I'm taking.
Me too. To go look at the schedule, because I registered so long ago. I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm taking anymore. So.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of it. It's a little bit, yeah. And I feel like I was hoping to finish off all my knits for the end of the year, but I'm going to try and spend January finishing off my knits. That's my new plan. We all know how well that works as I cast on a new hat. But we'll see.
Well, maybe we'll do a quick January whip along.
Mm-hmm.
So join us for the month of January if you have whips that you want to
God, now
knock
you're really
out.
putting the pressure on me.
I know.
I got to go find all the really quick ones that are really almost done and really should be finished because it's ridiculous.
Come join us for the whip along. The thing that just needs to be seamed, or the thing that just needs a sleeve done, or
the pair of socks I knit 2 years ago that just need heels and toes.
Right? So come join us for January.
So my goal will be to get those socks done by the end of January. My goal was to get them done last Tuesday, but that didn't happen. So.
We'll make it short and sweet, just so you can, if you need those sort of deadlines, just to knock out some stuff, we'll do it. We'll do it for January.
Yeah. There might be a long weekend in there for knitting.
Yep, there might
an
be.
okay day off.
Yep.
Yep. So. I'm looking over to the left.
The 2023 whip along.
That's right. Whip, whip.
Whip it.
I feel like I didn't make any notes before we started, so I have no idea, but I feel like that's kind of it. And I feel like we should go count some things.
Yeah, we should probably go help instead of sitting back here talking to all of you.
Right.
Which is way more fun.
Yes. But we can only prolong it for so long, so.
Yeah. Right. So it's time for us to go help.
Yes.
Do the thing. Count the things.
Right. And put the yarn away so it can be counted.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we took it off the shelves.
It occurred to me afterwards that maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
Wasn't the best idea. So, but anyway,
all right.
We'll go put it back now.
Yes.
So,
Happy New Year.
2023, everybody.
Yeah. Enjoy.
And we'll see you all in a couple weeks. Bye.
Put on my finished up.
Okay. So we're on.
I don't know on the scarf whether the point goes up or down. I haven't quite figured that out.
I don't know. I think maybe down.
That's what I was just thinking.
Down.
Although that seems counterintuitive.
Bumping the table. Okay.
It's really cute. Of course, I've made them completely arbitrary sizes. Because you're just knitting along and you're like, how many stitches do I have on those needles?
That looks good.
All right.
We have entered the crazy hair static
cling
zone because the air has dried out.
Yeah. Yes, it has. I have a whole house humidifier that I bought for myself.
Yes.
It's very exciting. And so my hands are not peeling off the skin, but it's still it's not 100%.
So we got double whammied because the power went out. We were having to use the wood stove.
For those of you that may be binge watching and you watched the last podcast,
yes,
where we were like, oh, hopefully we won't lose our power in this crazy windstorm.
So the crazy windstorm manifested. Anybody who is on the western side of the Green Mountains, particularly in sort of the middle part of the state, which is where we are, got hammered. Hammered. No, because we
almost
are
everybody.
Right on the downslope.
Right. So I'm just a little bit below you.
Yeah. The last time I saw the wind here,
it was crazy
like that. We lived in Brandon, and we didn't have power for a week.
Yeah, it was crazy. I will say.
Yeah.
There's trees. In fact, actually, when I was driving around with my friend later in the week, just a couple days ago, I was like, you could see how many trees were down and like freshly down. And I was like, wow. Like, I mean, I knew, and obviously with your situation, I knew, but I was really surprised. We went out to Shelburne Farms and we went, walking around.
I mean, in some areas, it looks like
there's branches by every road. I mean,
because I think what happened is like the trees get used to the wind blowing a certain direction, and so they got strength, and the wind was coming from a different direction.
And it was 50 to 70 mile an hour gusts. I mean, it was intense.
They clocked 70 miles an hour in Burlington.
Yeah, I mean,
it was wailing.
Yeah. That one night, Thursday night, that night we podcast maybe, or maybe even Friday. I don't even know. I could feel my house. My house is 150, 200 years old, and it's on a laid stone foundation. It's been there for a long time. I'm not really worried that it's going to come down, but there was definitely a few moments where I was like holding onto the bed.
Yeah. I start to get nervous when I hear trees coming down.
Yeah.
Because I live in the woods. And about 4 a.m, I started to hear trees come down, and then about 5 our power went out on the 23rd. And it would have been fine. It was like 50 degrees on Friday. So it was for that Friday, it was really warm. But then
at 4 o'clock,
starting about 4 o'clock, like they shut the state down. Like state workers were
I was still driving around, running errands and Christmas shopping.
Like at 4 o'clock, the temperature started to drop, and by 6, 7 o'clock, it was down in like the single digits. And then overnight with the wind, it was in the minus digits. And then it stayed cold all day Saturday. Yeah. And most of the day Sunday. It started to warm up a little bit after that.
I've kind of forgotten because it's been so warm since then that I was like, was it really that cold? And I was like, yes, it was.
It was this weird. So when we lose power at my house, we lose two like really big things. We lose our heat from our furnace, and then we also lose water because I have a well, and we have a well pump that pumps the water. And if you don't have power, you can't. I mean, I have the reserve of whatever was in the well pump.
That's why they say fill your bathtub with water. Like, that doesn't occur to me. Like, I read those things and I'm like, why would I do that? And then when you're out, you're like,
oh, so I can flush my toilet.
Just a few scoops of water would be very easy.
I filled up a few water bottles, but I was like, whatever. It's not like they keep like Stormageddon, and it's like they say it's going to be crazy, but it's not really.
Wolf.
Right. And this one actually came to fruition. Based on the damage I saw in both directions from my house, I can't believe we got power back Christmas Eve evening.
Like, it was a Christmas miracle.
I'm amazed. There were broken poles. There were lines broken. There were trees down, to a level that I was like, there's no way they're going to get this cleared. Not only are they not going to get this cleared, but that pole is snapped. They have to put in a new pole.
Well, honestly, so Christmas morning, I go to my sister's on Christmas. She lives like 5 miles away. And so I've loaded up the car. I'm like getting over there. It's like 8 o'clock. I get down to the end of my road, and there's a utility truck coming towards me.
They were
pulling a wooden pole. No, they were actually headed away, but still pulling, a cart with like 3 wooden poles. And I was like, oh, Merry Christmas, guys.
Yeah, those guys, honestly, line workers,
it's just crazy. They were out.
Yeah. The second our power came back on,
18 hours a day working. I mean, they stood down for 6 hours at a stretch. I heard somewhere.
It's amazing. Yeah. William jumped around and was hooping and hollering, and then he immediately went and got a thank you card and wrote a thank you card to
that's nice.
Green Mountain Power and the line workers, which we mailed.
And they were telling all these heartrending stories of like the guy in his truck reading Christmas stories to his kids over his phone. It's just. Yes.
So all I can say is thank you.
Yeah, but 37, that's a long time. And as I was just telling Ange before we turned this on, I was like, and of course your ability to communicate is also hampered because
I don't have very good cell service in my house.
Right, so I'm texting Ange, and I was like, oh, she's probably not getting these as constantly as I'm texting them. And I was like, in my head, I was like, if she doesn't text me, then her power's bad. This is Christmas Eve. I'm like, I'm going to my sister's all day. I'm just going to insist that she bring her family, maybe not the dog, but everyone else over to my house and just have a Christmas in my house where there's heat and power and water. But luckily, at 8 o'clock, right before I was about to send you, literally, I was just about to send that text because I was like, I feel like I should do something. But
I think it's also we use them as teaching moments for her kids. As tough as that is, like sometimes you just have to roll with it and
pioneer
like
days.
make do. And we usually
you don't want to leave because the power could come on at any
the power
minute.
could
Like
come
you don't
on, but
know.
also we had to keep stoking the fire. So the second problem we had when the temperature dropped so low is we have baseboard hot water heat, and so the baseboard hot water heat that runs to the second floor runs through our knee walls. And so they're not very well insulated.
Oh, yeah.
Like when the furnace is going, it's fine because the pipes are warm and stuff. But there's like a couple corners of the house where it's basically like it being outside. So we basically have water pipes, and we were really freaked out that our pipes were going to freeze.
Yeah.
I think if we had gone another day, it would have been real dicey.
Although the wood stove probably kept you warm.
It does, but it's
both, isolated. Yeah.
Both wood stoves are on the same side of the house, and so
you had two stoves going.
We fired up our second stove. We have lived there for there's one upstairs in our room.
Oh, yeah.
We've lived there 15 years. We've never used the second wood stove.
So those of you,
that's how
those of you listening at home. One should not always do that without checking one's chimney.
No, the chimney gets cleaned.
They're connected. Year. They're connected. The chimneys are connected.
They have separate chimneys, but they always John cleans them every year. Every year.
15 years. That's a bit of nest building for my house where the birds live in my chimneys.
No, they get cleaned every year, even though we don't use the other one. Just have it.
I don't get mine cleaned because I don't use any of my chimneys. So yeah.
But so they're both on the same half of the house, so it's the other side of the house, like where the kids' room is and stuff. So we were like, everybody's gonna have to sleep with the doors open tonight. You're gonna get cats in your room, like it's gonna be a free for all. We had to we had the doors to the knee walls open to trying to just get air circulated.
Maybe you should have moved some yarn in there, Aunt.
I know, right? And then the power came back on, and then it was like 800 degrees in our room because the heat kicked back on, and the wood stove was going, and it was open a window.
Right. Ironically,
I was sleeping in a tank top and shorts. It was so hot.
Right, as compared to the winter pajamas that are normally heavy flannel.
But then the issue with that is the thermostat for the second floor is in our room.
Oh,
so it wasn't kicking on for the other half of the upstairs.
Children are like, it's very cold.
So cold.
Oh golly,
it was fine.
Yeah.
We had a whole plan. We cooked duck. We roasted duck for Christmas every year.
This time it was roasted on the grill.
We were gonna do it on a grill. We were all prepared. I had the pan. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. We're just gonna wing it. I could have also cut it, but I was kind of freaked out to be handling duck a huge amount when I didn't have a whole lot of water to be able to wash my hands
and of course it's not so COVID-y anymore, so the hand wipes are gone and
No, I still have all those. Kids in school, we still have all of that. Busted out the hand sanitizer, the jugs, the vats of it.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine was at Costco. She was like, "Do you need anything?" I was like, "Do they have water? Do they have gallon jugs?" So she now we have
they have those big square ones.
We have more water now than we know what to do with. So we are prepared for the next power outage.
Right.
It probably will happen again.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. My husband does not have to drop any trees this year for firewood. We have so many down trees that he's just going to be able to cut what's already on the ground. A couple of them are right near where the wood piles are. He's very excited. He's like, I don't have to cart it out of the woods. But we lost some pretty good sized, nice trees.
Yeah, I saw some of your pictures.
Yeah.
I didn't have anywhere near that kind of excitement. I had a scramble to get the Christmas shopping done, and of course on that Friday when the temperature dropped, Anne just texted me should we close the store, we got to get off the roads, and I'm like, I got shopping to do. I can't drove my mom home after Christmas cookies at 2:00, and I was like, okay, according to all these things, I have 2 hours before the temperature.
I mean, for me, it was the state closed at 1:00, and I was like, that never happens. Yeah. So if they're closing,
it was
this
also
is
a
serious.
Pre-holiday weekend.
It was.
I think they just wanted everyone to get home.
Yeah,
and, it's fine. But and it was fine. And so at 4:00, I was. Yeah. It had been raining off and on all afternoon, and I could see, and as I was driving around, the temperature dropping in the car, and so I got in the car. I still had 2 errands left to run, and I was like, I'm just going to go home because I could hear the rain turning to ice on the windshield.
Yeah.
And I knew that the roads were going to be slick. And
Yeah.
so I got home, it was fine. But then the next morning on Saturday, I still had shopping to do. And so
You had to go out.
I thought, well, so then it turned to snow.
Right.
So we actually
We
ended
got a
up,
bunch of snow.
we
had a
went
white
from
Christmas.
like white to green back to white. We did have a white Christmas,
Yeah.
which was great. Although right
And
now it's like muddy. Having walked around a bit in the last couple of days, it's like mud central out there. It's like mud season.
We're at the
really.
Winter Lights thing on
Oh yeah.
New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
and it was like a mud fest.
Yeah,
We were-
I went the night before, but it was So on Saturday the roads were horrible. Honestly,
yeah.
I didn't really. I thought, well, I didn't leave until like late morning, and in my driveway, it wasn't even enough to shovel. I mean, it was
Right.
just a couple inches. The plow guy came, and I was like, please don't do that. You're just shoving gravel into my yard. But
We probably had 4 or 5 inches at our house.
well, it might have
A
been
little more.
almost that much, but
Yeah.
it was really like just. And it was so the roads were,
A mess.
and everybody was out shopping, and people were really. I almost got rammed like 3 times with people
They-
like going through red lights
Yeah.
and just like I was like, excuse me, my light
We-
is green.
William and I stepped out Saturday, one because I wanted hot coffee. I was
Right.
like, I've had luckily I had a jug of cold brew in the fridge,
Mm-hmm.
so had been drinking that. And I was like, no, I need something warm. So I was like, William, saddle up. He was like, he needed to get out of the house.
Yeah.
So we went to the mobile station on Route 7 that has the Dunkin' Donuts, got coffee, and I got donuts for them. And they had a little bit of water. And I was like, all right, now we're going to the hardware store and the shop. Like, people, my husband was like texting me, we need and I was like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
But also just to get out and see like the
Yeah.
destruction, and like we weren't even sure we could make it because
Yeah.
both ends of our road
Yeah.
had been blocked. Just to be able to get out and be like, yep, that's why we don't have power, and that's a mess, and that's going to
Yeah.
take them forever to fix.
Yeah.
But people were like, I can't.
It was
like,
unbelievable. Honestly,
how,
I
like,
was like,
people were
"Where is the
tailgating
Christmas
me."
spirit? Let's just like drive like normal human beings."
Right.
The roads are
Like, the roads were
horrible
slick.
because it's so windy. The
Yeah.
snow had just blown across the roads.
Oh, and it was frozen, and there was still ice underneath the snow, and it was not.
It was not
Yeah.
great. I was
No.
really happy to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
so that
it's
was
all good.
Yeah,
Christmas was nice.
Yeah.
Had a nice day.
was nice
Yeah.
with power,
Right.
running water. I had to take a
Showers.
shower. It's amazing.
Yeah, and then I had 3 days of extreme laziness. I did some stuff, but mostly I read books and did a little knitting and watched a lot of movies. And then my friends, so I had my college friend and her son and my other college friend come, and because of the last 3 years, it's been all over the place. Like they didn't
Right.
come COVID year, and then last year they were all coming, but then at the last minute, my friend Michael couldn't come because his whole office had COVID that week between Christmas and New Year's, and he didn't want to expose the rest of us. And so this year, Kristen and her son could not come because their poor kitty, they woke up on Thursday morning when they were supposed to be leaving, and their kitty had, she's fine. She had to have a little emergency surgery, but it was like a big messy, anyway, I'm not going to describe it because it's it's in her private part. She had some problems. And so,
She's not alone. I have a friend of mine spent 8 hours at Bev's with her dog on Christmas Eve for similar type issues, and her dog is going to have surgery as well.
So they
she's
did the
like-
surgery that day, which was actually good, and but then of course she couldn't come, and so I'm at the grocery store as she's texting me because I'm going
Getting
to
ready.
stock up for
having extra people. In
I'm
your
one
house.
person having 4 people in my house, especially a teenage boy, and my other friend who enjoys a good meal. I was like, okay, now what do I buy all this food? So of course now I have, because of course I thought, well, maybe it's just like a weird little scratch and she's going to be fine. But
Nope.
they did not come. But so rather than spending the whole day scrambling, I only had to clean the downstairs, which was lovely. I didn't have to do the upstairs because there were going to be no people up there.
Nice.
So it was great.
Nice.
Yes, I finished my continuing ed, which I needed to get done before the end of the year for architecture. That was fun. Not a fan of continuing ed.
I always have a scramble for that.
It's just ridiculous.
We
but
relicense in June.
my 5 state, I'm licensed in 5 different states, and they're all different time frames. So I just sort of do the calendar year, and it works out all over. But it's just they all have different requirements and different time frames. So it's super fun. Yeah.
So and then we took a little trip
Right.
this last week. So in between Christmas and New Year's, to scenic Lake George, New York.
It is scenic. It's a nice town.
It is a nice town. We stayed in a hotel with.
Were you right downtown by the lake?
Kind of. Yeah, you could see the lake.
Yeah. I meant like not over by, because it's kind of it's a weird spread out of.
No, we were down more closer to the village. Like you could walk to the lake from where we were.
I've only been in there in the summer. I don't know. Is it nice in the winter too?
It's okay. Yeah, it's
probably quieter.
It's quieter. Lots of things aren't open.
Oh, because they have seasonal stores. Yeah.
We went because there was the pool in the hotel. There's a indoor water park at Great Escape. Queensbury, which is right next door, has a ton of stuff. So we went to like.
Did you go to Great Escape?
Yeah, to the water park.
Oh yeah, that's
we
fun.
went to the water park. We went to like, I guess Queensbury's a version of Get Air, just called Sky Zone. So it's like a trampoline park. Right next to our hotel was like a bowling alley and arcade. So we went over there.
Yep.
Like, just, we were traveling with another family that had kids similar in ages to ours. So it was fun. We had like rooms. We weren't quite adjoining, but we were like kind of right next to each other. So there was a lot of, back and forth, like room hopping. We were like, next time we need to get adjoining rooms. So we're just like right there. It was a test run for like the two families, because sometimes you never really quite know, like,
it could be like great.
It could be really good, or it could
be like all of a sudden you see things in your family, like the other family, like how they parent or do whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, we need to just have dinner together. We can't do stuff together.
I would classify it as really great.
Awesome.
Like, I think it was, it worked well. Like, the adults get along, the kids do their thing, like, they're entertained. It was enjoyable to eat out.
Yeah, right.
We went to Hibachi one night. Like, my kids had never been to Hibachi. Like, that's their new favorite. William can't wait to go to Kodos here. He's like, we need to go have hibachi, like, all the time. And I was like, okay, maybe not all the time. But, just, like, doing some fun, different things and being in a different place.
And also not being like 100 million mile drive. It's like an hour and change.
And a half or so.
And it's a reasonably pleasant drive. I mean, through the mountains and whatever. Yeah.
It's not bad. We did a little shopping at the outlets. Yeah. Orvis. We hit up Orvis and some other.
Bean outlet is there. And...
Yep. We did go there. Didn't really find too much.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And also in between Christmas. Like,
as
we just walked around our own store and we're like, wow. There's not a lot of yarn left in the store.
Yeah, we actually did.
There's plenty, just in case you're nervous. But.
We did more damage at the outlet called the Beef Jerky Experience.
Yeah, right.
Like random stuff. I was torturing my kids. I bought them lollipops with like crickets and like, ants in them, and they're both like, "That's disgusting. I'm not eating that."
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a bit much. Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So it was fun, and we've been back the last few days, and just
we both did Winter Light. We did
Winter Lights
on Friday night. You did it on
Saturday night,
and then we went out to dinner at Starry Night on Saturday, which was great.
We went
really
to Peg and Tours.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
Yeah. Then we had brunch at my sister's yesterday, and then my friend went on his way, and I came back and watched some more movies and did some more knitting.
Nice. Yeah,
eking out all of the excitement of not having to work that I can.
Yeah, and then
tomorrow.
It's back out it tomorrow. So it's Monday. It's kind of our normal podcast day. We're
although it's very
here a little bit early.
Yes.
So we're going to start inventory in like 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah. Or people are going to start showing up for inventory.
Right. They're going to start inventory.
They're going to start. We may do this. We may do breaks and come back.
I think we should plow through most of it, and then we may have some extra outtakes for you.
Okay. So we should probably flip over to our
Yes, we probably should,
stuff.
Actually. So we can get through the introductions.